What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. This is Daniel Rucker on YouTube. I've been broadcasting, but I got my hair cut. I was looking a little rough, so I hope I'm looking a little presentable now. It gets tough out here sometimes, but I'm very excited about today's broadcast. I'm excited about most of the content that I put out, but I'm really excited about today's broadcast because it's something that I feel that most people have either encountered, are gonna encounter, are considering, have considered, not reconsidering, and that is marriage. Now, I'm not a married man myself. However, I do have a tremendous amount of experience when it comes to observing marriages and seeing the components of what works, what doesn't. Some people may ask, well, what qualifies you to talk about marriage? The fact that I have a solid opinion, the fact that I've been around a couple, my mother and my father actually are still currently married, 38 years, give or take, happy. They're just one example. And what it is that, it's something that comes up often. I think that is a societal expectation that people look to get married, explore marriage, whichever, however. And a lot of times now in the current market of relationships, people are terrified. So all I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about it, why I feel, in my opinion, marriages don't work a lot of times. Because quite frankly, marriage in itself is just a choice. Marriage doesn't have an automatic, deity necessarily that prevents it from working. I'm a firm believer that a relationship, whatever component that may be, friendship, associates, dating, parental, the layers, all the things that's encompassed require you to put some effort into it. So if your relationship does not work, one of two things probably happen. Either you chose to give up and stop working on it, or the other person did the same, or both did the same. It's just that simple. Now I can hear people on the other end saying, well, what if they disrespected you? Or what if they took advantage of you? Well, again, it still boils down to your choice. But let's get started. Let's get into it. I'm going to actually give a lot of input into this particular topic because I was actually asked this question just recently on if marriage was something that I was considering. And I had to sit there and chew on it for a second because the way I was raised, marriage was the goal. The way I was raised, marriage is the end all be all. Like almost if you're not married, you're nothing. you're no one. You're no one of importance. You're not significant, whichever, however. And now I have my mixed reviews about it. So I wanted to come and talk to you guys about my perspective and how I see it. So marriage is a business with an emotional component. Yep, I said it. Marriage is a business with an emotional component. What do you mean by that, Daniel? What I mean is that a lot of times people enter marriage not understanding that the fiber, the foundation, and really the heartbeat of it supersedes how you feel, supersedes attraction, supersedes all of the interconnected components of what we as humans have made it. What I believe is that marriage is a business. Now, how did you come to this conclusion, Daniel? Well, I've actually been told this by people who have been married, decade in and decade out. Observation, tremendous amount of research. And just what I have found is that the mechanics of marriage are consistent when you are aligning it with a business perspective. Now, me being a business owner myself, I've actually been someone who's been very attracted to business my entire life, as long as I can remember. Since I was 10 years old, I've been hustling. I had employees at 13, so that's how serious it is. But as a business owner, and those who are business owners out there, I believe can understand that in order for your business to thrive, in order for your business to grow, it requires, one, a plan, a general understanding of what service or products, a combination of both, What is it that you're really hoping to accomplish when starting your business? To me, it's the same thing. If you have a young man or a young lady in your life, your outlook on that person should be, do I want to be in business with this person? Not do I want to have sex with this person? Not do I want to be naked with this person? Because that's important, you know. People put a lot of emphasis on the physicality of things, and that is a component of it. However, marriage at its core is business. And, you know, there is people who, when you're considering starting a business, you have to really understand who you're signing up to do business with. You know, I think if anyone had a sketchy person in their life, you know, like Lion Rodney, or, you know, Sketchy Larry, or, you know, Snitching Tina, you know, you would probably be a little bit less inclined to go into business if they have shaky character. And sometimes you as a person have to check your own character. So yeah, so I want to get into it because I feel that it's a topic that's definitely not going to go away as long as, you know, us as human beings here on earth are going to be alive. We're going to probably be constantly visiting this relationship component, and marriage being the standard, being the approach, being the focal point. I feel that I want to just add some perspective and some value that may help those people who are considering being married, those people who probably are married now, and, you know, just to change maybe an outlook on it. So the reason why I believe marriages don't last that long is because most people are workers and not business owners. Whew. I like that myself. I'm going to sit on that for a second. Most people are workers, employees, and not business owners. Now, what's the difference, Daniel? There's a tremendous difference in the mental capacity of someone who is running the organization, starting the organization, building the organization, than a person who works at an organization. It is completely different outlooks. It is completely different perspectives. You have different components of your psychological development, your outlook, your disciplines, your lifestyle. It's different. So I believe that that's one of the major components of why people don't do really well in this space. I think that in order for you to really build a successful marriage, create something that is long lasting, it requires a shift in the mind, and it supersedes the emotions. It supersedes how you feel, because as an employee, and those, I've been an employee before, I'm sure people listening to the sound of my voice are employees or have been employed before. When you wake up every day and you know you got a job, you don't feel like doing that job all the time. You don't feel like going in there dealing with, you know, Tony and his drama with his BM, or, you know, trying to find parking, or people not refilling the coffee, or whatever the issues may be. But you have to push, because why? You have goals, you have dreams, you have commitments, you have obligations, and they're dependent on you. Your auxiliary at that job is necessary because they hired you to do something. So you have to be there, or there's consequences: termination, loss in pay, probation, suspension. So you push yourself. Well, that's one level of commitment. The business owner level of commitment is that the actual organization does not function without your commitment, without your effort, without your discipline. You are responsible for the health that is the company. And not only the health that is the company, you're responsible for the individuals that you choose to hire for your company. Totally different level. When you were starting a business, as you were starting a marriage, it is very important and pertinent to decide which auxiliary and what position you're going to play in this organization. So what do you mean by that, Daniel? Well, my man looking to marry a woman. Me and her need to decide what our roles are going to be, what my responsibilities are going to be, what her responsibilities are going to be. What responsibilities are we going to share? What responsibilities are going to be isolated and independent? These talks need to happen way before engagement, way before, you know, you start signing leases and mortgages and picking out rings and picking out cakes. Because I think a lot of times what happens is that people get caught up on the wedding. the celebration. It's like their own little Grammy party or celebratory thing, and they feel elevated of sorts. Like, I'm getting married, and I'm saying it in a joking manner because people act like it's something unique and something special in a sense that you are being bestowed a special honor, and you're really not. You're making a choice. Marriage is a choice, just like anything in life is a choice. Life is choice driven. And in order for you to do it successfully, in my opinion, you have to have a certain understanding of what you're really signing up for. If you think you're signing up for sex on demand, from what I've been told, from what I've observed, and from what I've read, no. If you think you're signing up for paradise and bubble gum drops and rainbow dreams and honeydew kisses, nope, that's not it either. This person is going to get on your nerve. They're going to disappoint you. They're going to disrespect you. They're going to take advantage of you. This is the human factor. It is the humanistic component of dealing with people. They're made this way. So, now that I get off topic, people need to understand what it takes to start, manage, and build a thriving business. And that is a critical component to building something of solidarity and fortitude. So you're saying a lot of words, Daniel, but what are you saying? What I'm saying is that if you're looking to succeed in this thing called marriage, if you're looking to succeed and build something that is going to be long lasting, I feel that the planning stage is so key. It's so important. See, what happens is that a lot of times people got the attraction down, oh, she fine. Oh, she got that body. She got that smile. She's sweet. This and that. I'm going to pop the question. And then vice versa. Oh, he's handsome and he's good looking and he listens to my stories and, all of the things that from an emotional level, people want to exchange. And that's beautiful. That's wonderful. If you have those things, that's great. However, those are not transferable when you talk about marriage and building something that's lasting and something that's going to be of fortitude and solid, thriving, upward mobile. Because we all know that how you felt 5 years ago is not how you feel today. How you felt 10 years ago is not how you necessarily feel today. We grow. We get more information. We have different experiences. And as being a human being, unfortunately or fortunately, you get exposed to different things. Now, why is it important that you have these conversations up front? Well, if you're dealing with humans, and I'm sure you are, there is usually trauma attached to most people. There's a few content creators on this particular platform who recommend therapy and seeking counsel. And I would have to be inclined to agree with them that I think that just like you take your car to get some maintenance and looked at, the brakes and the engine and, all of the electrical components, I think that sometimes people need to take themselves, their vehicle, themselves, into a body shop or a mechanic, a psychiatrist, or a spiritual advisor and get assessed. Because a lot of people are living in their selves as a 25-year-old, 26-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, and still have not dealt with the real toxicity and corrosion that is their mind and their emotional state. And unfortunately, if you're looking to start a business, this marriage, you cannot enter into it without having mental health be, functioning and bringing the benefit, because your business will not succeed. Your marriage will not succeed. So, my theory on marriages require the same, if not more focus, practice, and discipline than even running a small business. If you can run a small business successfully, you may possess the necessary skills to build a lasting marriage. This again is my opinion and my theory. I believe that the same type of tenacity that is necessary to embark on business. When you're starting a business, it's new, it's your baby, you have dreams, you have goals, you get it, you get your corporation, your LLC, your S Corp, whichever, You get your articles of incorporation. You start your business account. You put things in place because you are in preparation of building a business that is going to thrive. Well, marriage is the same thing. The difference is that you're dealing with an individual that you have to understand and know that you want to be in business with. That is the key. Not do you want to kiss them every day or go out on dates or take lavish vacations. That is a component of the marriage. But the reality is, who do you want to be in business with? When you look at your life 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years down the road, could you say that this person, out of the 7 billion people on the planet, this person is the one person that I wouldn't mind doing business with? I want to be in business with. If that is your answer, then cool. You got a good start. You have a good level of clarity, and you're probably going to be a little bit more successful than those people who unfortunately don't have this outlook or this perspective. Now, all marriages need an agenda, and unfortunately most people allow society to determine what their relationship will look like and how it will be governed. Why can I say this? Because it's true. We are all programmed to a degree. All of us. The media does their job. They do a good job. They make sure to pump out advertisement, TV shows, and set an agenda. They sell you on the vision that is your life. And unfortunately, to be successful, success at all, it requires you to look inside and understand what it is that you want to bring into the world. You want to be represented as. You want to create. That's a different shift in the mind. That's a conversion in the mind. You have to unplug and understand what it's going to take and how much work it's going to be associated with. I hear a lot of people talk about marriage is work. Marriage is work. Oh, marriage is work. Well, yeah, it is work. It requires the same, if not more, tenacity, commitment, and discipline as running a business. Okay. Give you an example on something I mentioned earlier in this post about the position and understanding your position. Because a lot of times what I think happens more than anything is that the individuals do not understand their role. The individuals in the business, the marriage, do not understand their role. And what happens is that each individual starts either picking at the other person's role or trying to encompass the responsibility of the other person's role, and they're not quite performing their role correctly. And that's when you have the clash and things get a little bit out of hand, get off track. So everybody, I believe, understands or at some time encountered this company called Apple. Apple is a thriving business. As much as I'm an Android fan, as much as I love Android technology, I'd have to give it to Apple on what they've been able to accomplish in the last, they came out, I believe, in the 60s, 70s. Don't quote me exactly, but they've been around for quite some time. Well over 50 years. And Apple, in its indoctrination to Earth and in the world, brought something that was different. But the people who started Apple and ran Apple were Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak were married. Their marriage was Apple. That was their child. Steve Jobs had a completely different job than Steve Wozniak. Steve Wozniak had a completely different job than Steve Jobs. And what allowed for them to build Apple to the behemoth that it is them understanding what both contributions were. Steve Jobs didn't do Steve Wozniak's job. Steve Wozniak didn't do Steve Jobs' job. job. And so what that allowed for is for them to both perform at their peak level and build something of success, something of greatness. Marriage, in my opinion, is exactly the same thing. If you are going to be successful in this game and build something of substance, build something that's successful, build something that is thriving, It requires the parties that are in it to understand what role they play. If you decide as the woman you are going to be the stay-at-home mother, if that's what you decide, then there needs to be extensive talks on how long, what that's going to look like, what the expectations of that is, and so on and so forth. And then vice versa. If the man is going to go out and work, earn the money or the bulk of the money, what is that going to look like? What is the expectation that he has? What expectation you have? And so on and so forth. You guys are smart people, so I don't want to offend anybody's intelligence by going into the deep levels of explanation of this. I think that generally you can understand. But what I have found to be one of the biggest things that a lot of people don't do, and I had this experience in real life, is that people who are actually married do not talk, not properly. Their communication is not healthy communication. What is healthy communication? Healthy communication is when you can convey your thoughts, your input, your perspective, your outlook on things in a way that the other party hearing you understands without lacking clarity. And that once the conversation is done, or the conversations have been done, that both parties walk away from the table or the conversation understanding what we do from this point. That's healthy communication. So I'm going to tell you guys a story. I was dating a young lady for some years, some time ago, and I was actually attending a marriage seminar. Now, I wasn't attending a marriage seminar because I necessarily wanted to be married, but I felt that if I'm going to be in a relationship, any relationship, whether it was that relationship or future relationships, why not be surrounded by people who are actually married or looking to get married and get tools, get information. And that's another thing I recommend people do. If you want to be, an astronaut, you may want to go to space camp. If you want to be a doctor, you may want to volunteer at a hospital. If you want to be married, you may want to kick it with some married people. It's kind of common sense. But anyway, so I went, took the young lady with me, and there was a segment of the seminar where it asked 10 questions about your partner. And the goal was you were supposed to be able to answer these questions based on you knowing your partner. Well, I want to say off the top of my head, there were probably about 20 couples there. The couple that was married the longest was like 40 years. The couple with the least amount of years was like 8, give or take. We were the only couple there that wasn't married, and that's okay, but we weren't married, but we were dating for some years. When I tell you that out of the 10 questions, when everyone went up and asked the questions in front of the forum in the class, and what is your husband like? What's his favorite color? What is his routine after he gets home from work? What does your wife like to do on Thanksgiving? Like, whatever the questions were, it was some years ago, so I can't remember in detail. However, the questions were things that, in my opinion, if you spend time with these people on a daily basis, you married to this person a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you should know, in my opinion. Me and this young lady were the only couple that got all questions about each other right, without anything being missed. And we're not even married. We weren't married, I'm sorry. And what was shocking for her is shocking for me when we left. When we talked about it, we like, can you believe that these married people didn't know basic stuff about each other? I mean, basic stuff. What type of soda does he like when he eats ribs or whatever? Things that you would, believe know about your partner. And it was mind-blowing that there was almost 20 couples there. And like I said, most people were married over 5 years and didn't know the basic. So what I pulled away from that was, I don't believe people really talk. I don't believe that they have extensive conversation when it comes to what they expect from the other person, or they even really invest the energy that's necessary to be in a relationship. So I'll segue on something real quick and just throw out some stats for you guys. 70% of small businesses survive past 2 years, while only 50% make it past 5 years. Now, why is that important? Because what I've been saying on this broadcast, if you've been listening this whole time, is that marriage is essentially a business. And if 70% of small business lasts past 2 years, 2 years is no time. You don't even get a bachelor's for 2 years. but only 50% make it past 5 years. Well, I would assume marriage is probably about the same. They say the marriage divorce rate, it's a 50-50 chance. 50% people of divorces happen, so you got a 50-50 chance. So that's about accurate, about in line with the same thing. But anyway, back to what I was saying on healthy communication. I was blown away by the fact that these couples don't talk, and as you can tell by the fact that I'm on this channel and, I'm sharing with you guys, I have no problem conversing. I have no problem talking and, dishing out words and conversing and strategizing. I actually am very much infatuated with healthy conversation. I feel like it's necessary, and that's as people, we're designed that way, to connect and communicate. But anyway, most marriages end in divorce not because of lack of presence, but lack of finances. That's interesting. So if it's all about the feelings, and it's all about the sex, and it's all about the love, then why are most people divorcing over money and finances? Because it's a business. Because marriage at its core is a business. And if you don't have money, and you don't have finances, and you don't have resources, then you don't have business. If you have no profit, you have no business. But anyway, if your business is not bringing in resources, then you're essentially not in business. I think that this is very key for those who are considering getting involved in this thing called marriage. Because if you do not make it a point to become curious about the person you're with, curious about the way the person perceives you in the relationship that you have, curious about their happiness, their attention, their finances, their family, their upbringing, their future goals, their outlook, how you want to raise your children, where do you want to live, how much money do you need in the savings account in order for you to feel comfortable. These are questions you should be asking the person that you essentially want to marry. So I just wanted to jump on today, and I know I got going. I was very excited about this particular topic. I'm excited about most of my topics, but I definitely was excited about this particular topic because I feel that, someone like myself, needs to be talking about these things, because a lot of people really don't have these conversations in depth, in my opinion. And I just wanted to be a part of the conversation. When you get a chance, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Please share this to those people who you feel this will be beneficial to, yourself included. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast today. I will be coming to you guys on a regular. Like I said in my post, get used to this face because I'm coming. So this is Daniel Rucker with True Table signing out. You guys have a blessed Friday and take care. Be safe.